Okay. So we'll do our prayers now. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for joining in today. And let's go ahead with today's what we have discussed. So just a quick view of people who have joined in most as viewers. So there is a self-study group called Swadhyay. So we have participants who has done the foundation course and then moved ahead studying Upanishads in a very structured manner. And we are all here to share what have we learned so far. So we have done some work and we are here to share what have we learned so far. More importantly, how is it benefiting all of us in the daily lives? That's more important because understanding at a cognitive level can help so much, but how are we able to implement in our practical lives and where are facing challenges and how we have surpassed those or if we need any help. So that's the idea we have all come in today. Thank you so much for everyone joining in and let's take it forward. So generally, yes.
Vedant, few people are saying that they are not able to connect. They want the link and all that. Some 3 people have mentioned in the group.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Why is this happening?
Sorry to interrupt you, Vedant.
No, that's okay, but there is a link. Okay, just give me a moment.
She's sending the link now.
All right, I'll just do that. Yes.
I just sent the link, Vedant.
All right, so I think more number of people will just join in then. Okay, I think link is in there. Thank you, Padmasini. Thank you so much. All right. So we'll do one thing. Generally, we start from 1 to 6. Why don't we start from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Is that okay? So I think Kaushal is not very happy with that idea. So, okay, 6 is not ready to start with. Can we start with 5? Batch 5. Who's batch 5 here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you okay?
Asha and Varsha also a part of batch 5.
All right. I don't think Varsha will be joining in. All right. So are you okay to go ahead to start with?
Yeah, is Asha there? I'm not able to see, sorry.
Right, let's start now. I'm going to put you on a speaker view. Okay.
Okay, Asha isn't here. Are you all able to hear me? Okay, great. So I have very little to share. While I think the learnings, the summary is something that will take a long time, to put. But there are just 3 things that have really impacted me. I feel that I can take on my daily life. One of the important aspects is the permanence and the impermanence of things, right? So somehow it's so evident in our daily life that things are not permanent, whether it's our own body or people coming, going, so many changes that happen. But it was so difficult for me to accept anything changing in my health or my near and dear ones. somehow believed that everything will be fine, right? But I think with the studies that we've had together, I'm somewhere able to slowly shift that and accept that that's not going to be there. And in small ways, I've been able to imbibe those things as well. Be more prepared. Like, I don't know if I were to share, but things like when my father fell sick, and I know that otherwise how I would have behaved if these teachings were not there. And today, knowing that he's aging and what are the challenges that may happen. So I think I'm more accepting and I'm more prepared for the changes that are to come. So in a very small way, I think I'm becoming independent in that sense. Yeah, that's one of the learning. The other is the pain or the struggles that we all go through, the small and the big, right? I've come to a point where I don't question them anymore, because most of the time we question why, what can I do? I mean, okay, what can I do is still a good question, but why it's happening to me, or why at all this kind of pain? Because putting time and effort into the why is really not going to help. And I think these teachings have again told that some things are just Maya, it's there, right? It happens. So uh, I all I can do is be in the moment and give my best. So that is another aspect that I've been able to truly imbibe, because I just don't question. I kind of move with the flow and see however difficult it is, I just come back and say, okay, at this moment, what can I give? Yeah. Uh, well, it may take some time. Sometimes I may react, but on a reflective basis, I'm able to come back, yeah, to that state. So that's the second one. The third is not getting attached to my body, mind, or my beliefs. And somewhere I think it has helped me empathize with others, because if you are aware that you yourself you are getting so attached, there is another entity or there are other so many people you're interacting with. So I think somewhere that element has come in of understanding that they can be so different and they may not align with my beliefs, and that's where I think most of our clashes happen. uh, so this has really helped when a person is really not aligning with my thoughts, my beliefs. I think understanding that when I'm myself able to see that I can change in so many different ways. I can get attached to this, that. So I think it has just made me a little more aware and more accepting and understanding of people. So mostly we feel that everybody is taking advantage of us, but I think it's not that. They're just made that way, just like how we are made a certain way. And I think that's my learning. So these are the three things. The challenges I'm facing, um, that like I mentioned already, some things that I'm really closely attached to. At that moment, I think I become one with that problem or that situation, and only later I'm able to come out of it. So I'm not able to do this every time. Like in small situations, I'm able to apply these learnings, but when it comes to very big situations, I think I generally react, and then it becomes a little reflective later on. Like, okay, I could have dealt with this better way, but somewhere I think it's still better off. Maybe I would say that there is improvement. That's one of the challenges I'm facing. And the second is that while I'm able to experience the impermanence bit, I'm not able to experience the permanence. As in, I don't know, when we talk of the Atma and Atma and we say that there is one impermanent, I mean, these things are impermanent, whereas there's a permanent source. I don't know how to experience that permanent source. My struggle is there an experience of that permanence? I'm not sure. That is another challenge that I'm facing. And the third is that sometimes at cognitive level and even at a thought level, I can drive certain things, but there is no congruence with the feelings. Like, it is, I know that, I should be grateful. I'm just giving an example, right? At good times, I feel, my thoughts, my actions, my feelings, everything feels like I'm grateful. But in my worst times, it's only at a thought level or I'm at a cognitive level that yes, I have to be grateful for things, but I don't feel grateful. That that feeling is missing at some times. So that's another challenge that I'm going through, the congruence of all of it, that, yeah. So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Amazing sharing here.
Absolutely. I think
Thank
it
you. Thank you
was
so
very
much.
beautiful. See,
It
Sapna, you have said so many things. Now I'm just wondering. Yeah, it was so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see if, you all have some things to, give feedback or share in terms of the similar things that we are all going through. I'm sure. I'm so excited to hear all of you.
It felt so nice, Sapna, when I heard you say, because it felt that you're not alone in the way you feel, because I resonate to many things that you said. So it feels like, okay, we all go through similar stuff. We experience a lot of things. So it made me feel like you're not alone in the journey. So thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sapna, for being so authentic, direct, as you're always. Thank you. And any questions that you have from her, please feel free to ask her right now. Specifically, not on the challenges though, because challenges is something which we are facing and we will try and talk about it more. But in terms of what she has achieved, specifically the distance, ability to see the thoughts and beliefs from a distance, accepting others the way they are, because a whole lot of things, which is also a great journey in itself. So if you all have any questions to ask her, please feel free to. In case if you don't, then we move to other people. Asha, you had something to say because you're from the same group, if I'm right.
Yes, I had. I noted down and I'll try to keep it short as much as possible. Uh, right. So I'll just kind of rush through. Um, so yeah, I'll just read out some of the notes that I jotted down. Right. So when we started this, the whole Sadhan Chatushtaya thing was especially interesting for me because it gives us a very clear direction on what we need to develop within us, right? While the how is not very clearly mentioned, the what is very clearly mentioned. So we know which direction we have to proceed. I think that compass setting is, something which is very good, which gives us that direction. And then I thought another important thing which comes out is when we call out Shraddha as an important required attribute, right? It makes us focus on faith, and you realize that many times the skepticism can be the biggest obstacle, and which is a problem that I've always had because I'm like a big skeptic for many things. So it takes time to accept something which doesn't fit within the that thing. So I also realized that there's a fine line between faith and blind acceptance, and what we understand when we read this text is that it's a whole text of inquiry, right? Where the seeker is encouraged to ask questions. So nowhere are we told that you should not ask questions, right? But that thin line when we walk between getting into blind faith versus that shraddha part, it makes us appreciate. And I think for me it's a journey that I'm still traveling, is to develop a proper shraddha when we approach any of these subjects, right? And the easiest way for the way I have looked at is like when we go to school, when we start reading science, when we learn classical physics, right? At that point of time we did not question whether this is right or wrong, right? And we just said, okay, maybe I don't understand this right now, but eventually when I go to higher classes I will understand, right? And that is the shraddha we have always had in our education system. So when I look at it that way, it makes sense, right? So maybe there are things that I don't understand now, but eventually I will. And for the time being, it's okay to park it and kind of keep moving on, right? And we realize also that the many yardsticks by which we ourselves, how we have evaluated ourselves or how the world has evaluated us, has not been completely correct. So for instance, if I were to see, people will say attachment to your family and everything is one of the biggest strength, and maybe sentimentalism was something which was considered as a strength. But if we were to now look at it from a different lens, we understand that that attachment has to also come with a sense of dispassion, right? You can't be so deeply attached to anything. So it kind of makes us realize that. And another thing was the how we understand the powers and pitfalls of desire, right? Desire which can lead us to action, and it's also the force which propels us, but the wrong desires can lead us in the wrong direction. And what was also interesting is to look at desire as lack of something. That is a huge grounding aspect for me, because anytime I'm looking at desire, I'm seeing, okay, that is because I'm lacking it, and that is why I'm desiring it, right? So it's like a very leveling factor. Then we look at the problems, with the entire worldly pressures. Yeah, it makes you understand and appreciate, okay, these are things that are ephemeral, that are transient, that's not going to stay with us. And it's not something we can anchor on, right? And then another thing which I liked was how the duties which are elaborated in swadharma, and whatever is the, what are the right karmas to be done, again it gives us a kind of compass, right? There are a lot of conflicts and contradictions we find in this world. So sometimes, a clear enunciation of where and which direction we need to proceed is always a helpful path to look at. Then I think another, I think, aspect is suddenly you realize it's not one life, where you're trying to maximize your wealth and happiness from the material things, as these don't carry forward beyond the death of the body. And to my mind, a better way to think about it is, right, even if I think of myself as going through multiple lives and I'm not going to achieve it this life, right, the easiest way for me to look at it is, like, let me at least train my samskaras and vasanas, at least that is going to get carried forward, and let me at least train them rather than wasting my energy and effort on, the other things which are anyway going to get destroyed at death, right? And also looking at death as the death of the physical body and not death in totality, I think brings a lot of, I would say, a kind of a respite to some of the grief we face when we look at our fears of mortality and the fears of losing our loved ones. And when you kind of try and understand that it is a natural progression and the soul is going to continue the journey forward, or the subtle body is going to continue the journey forward, right? It might not hit us immediately when we are in the throes of grief, but I like to think of it that we are immersing ourselves in these texts, and when the time comes, maybe these are the things that I can hold on to, right, to help me cross the bridge. And from a practical implementation perspective, I think reading and reflecting on this several times during the day, it helps my mind being more grounded and resilient to the ups and downs during the day. And I can't say that it happens every time, but whatever number of times it happens, it's a small improvement. So every small movement in the right direction is an improvement that I can look at. And I have seen myself becoming more aware of the turbulence in my mind, and also being able to view it more objectively, right? And trying to reflect on what caused a certain emotion. I'm not always able to control it when that emotion is coming, but at least I'm able to look back maybe like 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds after it has passed, saying, okay, why did I do this, or why did I feel it? And it always comes down to the ego, right, where all the negative emotions are just because of a strong ego. And in the light of what we read, that ego is just a wrong identification, and that thinking sometimes helps you loosen its hold, the very strong hold the ego has on oneself, right? And then dealing with desires and known weaknesses. For example, I know I have a weakness that when I'm going to a mall, I might feel drawn to buy something, right? And how do I kind of tackle this? And I know when I buy this, I'm going to regret it. Maybe for a brief time I'll be very happy about it, but very soon I'll forget about it. And when I come back and I see, okay, I bought something unnecessary, I'm going to feel guilty about it, right? So it's not going to give me what I needed. So there are two things which help me here. Is one is the withdrawal, which is uparama, right? Which is something that I've been doing unconsciously, which is like avoiding going to malls, avoiding going to places which are going to pull me more. And the second thing which has helped me is being involved in something else which takes up all my time. So I look at it that, okay, I'm so involved in some other thing that I don't have time to think about these desires, right? So that also helps me to keep me away from, let's assume, certain desires where I don't want to get pulled at. And to my mind, I look at it that it's a small sapling that needs protection, and if you expose it to all kinds of vagaries of this world, it's not going to survive. Right now my mind is untrained, so if I am just thrown into these things, I'm not going to be able to resist it, right? So in that aspect, withdrawal works better till I find that my mind has become sufficiently grounded that I can withstand these kind of desires or whatever else comes my way. right? And out of all the attributes that came in, Sadhan Chatushtaya, I feel some of these attributes can be cultivated and some of them are byproducts. The ones that are cultivated are things that you can actually put effort on, like things like developing, more of withdrawal, or try to develop some focus, which is samadhanam and all that. And things like dispassion and mumukshutvam will eventually be a byproduct of continued learnings. And by the very act of us marinating in this knowledge for a long time, I'm hoping that those attributes will be the byproduct, so I don't have to work towards them. But there are certain attributes that I need to work towards. And from that perspective, I thought forbearance is something that is actually a difficult one, because forbearance, especially on the physical body side, I feel, you are just gifted a physical body, you're just born with a physical body. And sometimes if you don't have that forbearance to bear everything, then I feel that not having the forbearance also makes us more selfish, because you are kind of glued to your body's requirements all the time. Okay, I need my food now, or I cannot withstand this cold, right? So I am all the time concerned about my body. To some extent, I think that's going to be more of a challenge. I'm not saying mental forbearance is easy in by any standards, but yeah. So challenges wise, I think I feel that getting into the company of people who are very materialistic and who evaluate all accomplishments in a very material manner, for me is a challenge, because it creates turbulence in my mind, right? So I feel that I'm not yet ready, or I'm not yet grounded in this reality right now to be able to face that. So I feel I need to train my mind more, so that when I am exposed to a different thought processes like that, I am still able to be calm in, or be centered in my learnings. So this is one challenge that I see. And as I said, forbearance is also the thing. And of course, controlling the mind is a big challenge, right, where it kind of pulls you in different directions, and you realize that you've been a slave to it even before you acknowledge that, by that time itself so much time has passed. So yeah, I know I kind of did I eat up the time. I had so much to I had so much noted down. I've tried to kind of go as fast as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you so much. It was a very detailed, and we can seriously say that you have put in a lot of effort to kind of put this across. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, who would like to go next?
Well,
And
I
we'll-
thought
And
I thought we'll do group 4.
I just wanted to also just say that we will try and capture our personal learnings, or what we have been able to do and what we have not been able to do. So we'll try, and instead of seeing what we have learned, it is more like sharing your own personal journey. So we can do that as well. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I thought I saw Suresh here. He's not there, but I'll do my 2 bits. I mean, before November 15th, when we started, right, I used to listen to this, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. I can tell you one thing very clearly. Now I think I've understood it, right? I look forward to the Wednesday always, right? But for a small break that we took. But today I'm able to relate to, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. And the other aspects, of course, Asha and Sapna covered quite a bit. I don't want to repeat some of those things. But the point of looking at what is a subtle body, what is a causal body, right? I don't think before November 15th, I would have even taken a wild guess that I would ever be able to understand it, right? I think it's been the power of the group. I mean, a lot of people here that I'm blessed to be with, of course, under the guidance of Bidan. So it's been a lot of learning today. Sapna did mention, right? In happy times, these things come into mind quite a bit. I mean, you're able to practice a lot of these things, but it's only when you're vulnerable, right? When you're down, you're really not conscious about it. I think that is something that I am struggling with, right? But yeah, I think to sum it up, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind is something that I've understood. So that's my 2 cents, Vidhan and the team. But gratitude to all of you.
Thank you so much, Anand, for sharing this. A quick one for you. And this is what exactly Sapna was also trying to ask. How did you come across? So for example, when we did our session, we did go through the process of understanding that I'm not the body and I'm not the mind. And we went through a certain meditative process to understand that. But how has that helped you in your day-to-day life?
I think I'm able to accept a lot of things, right? Maybe something I always said, oh, I don't have this, I'm not too tall. I mean, just giving an example, right? Today, I don't think I'm concerned about it. And that bother being away is helpful in many ways. I'm not measuring how helpful it is, but with that bother going away, I can say that, I'm at least not thinking on that side.
Wonderful. So what you're trying to basically say to all of us is that since your identification with the body has gone away, you are not concerned with the problems of the body that you consider as a problem of your body, that this is me, and therefore the society that calls it not good enough doesn't bother you because your identification with the body is no longer there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a level, Anand. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's amazing.
But at the same point of time, I know that I have to take care of the body, right?
Right.
Which is whether it is exercise, fitness, or the right food or whatever is the thing. So these are two different things altogether, right? What someone comments and how it used to affect me to how it possibly no longer affects me. I'm not saying I'm 100% away, Vidhan, but slowly getting there.
Great. And somewhere you're also suggesting that you're able to see your mind also from a distance.
It's more difficult, but yes, I am trying to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Suresh. Any questions anybody has for Suresh? Specifically, he has brought out a very interesting and important aspect of his ability to distance himself from body, specifically or mind to some extent. Okay.
Okay. Maybe I think Suresh, I think you were off. You could start. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Vidhan, you want to just share those slides?
I'm so sorry, Suresh. I'm not prepared with those slides. It's just you can just speak it out.
Okay.
I don't have it with me right now because I didn't get those slides. You mail it to me?
Yeah.
All right.
I put it on WhatsApp.
Okay. Is it okay if you can? I just try. Maybe you can just start.
Yeah. So it would become much more easier to put it up as an image. So I'll be.
Or we can do one thing, Suresh. Maybe you can just resend it to me on my WhatsApp, and maybe someone else can take over. In the meanwhile, I just try and get things sorted out, and you can come. Is that okay with you?
That's okay. That's okay.
All right. Can you just send it to me again personally, please?
Yeah.
Is there someone else who would just want to comment before I put on the slide and Suresh can take over?
Yeah, if that is all batch 4 is, then batch 3 can start. Then batch 4 can come back again. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yes.
So batch 3 is Prema and myself. Prema is not here today, but I'll be sharing from both our sides, right? So my experiences are also very similar to that of Sapna. One of the biggest solutions I have found for myself is the question why, right? Whenever we hit any of the challenging situations, it's very easy questions. Why is this happening to us? What is this happening for? At least what is this happening for? We can at least try to find answers, but this why is something we are always stuck with. And my husband has also done the basic course with Vidhan. He was also very stuck in this area. But after doing this and understanding that, this is our own karmic imprints that we are experiencing in this life, nobody is responsible for what we are going through. it has given us a great sense of relief, because when the question why was not answered, there was a lot of hopelessness that we used to feel, or clueless, and not able to find a solution for things. But the more and more we understand that it's just our life, our experiences, and we have to only see what we can do going forward and not question what has happened before, that has helped us actually stop blaming things or blaming others and take up responsibility for what we have to do going forward. So that has been one of the biggest learning for us. Second also is that once this question of or need for asking the question why goes away, the acceptance for whatever is happening in life increases substantially, right? Okay, this is happening, so this is happening. What do we do about it? So that is the mind frame you go about it. So you feel more empowered to handle the situation rather than feeling helpless or clueless or stuck in the situation. So that we have seen. And also the idea of Ishwararpana Prasada Buddhi. One of my attachments majorly was with my roles, responsibilities, and the relationships that I had, right? So I always used to be a thing that I have to be a good mother, I have to be a good daughter-in-law, I have to be all that and this. So once that concept itself is like, okay, there is nothing much that I have here which I can keep on calling I and attached to, then all other things feel a little more detached. You can take a step back and look at things very differently. And because of that attachment to roles, we also used to take up attachment to responsibilities, right? My son is feeling sad, I have to see to it that he's happy. My mother-in-law is upset, I have to see to it that she is happy. So now all that has dropped away as well, right? If somebody is going through some pain, I will do what I can as a human being to support them. But in spite of that, what they feel and how they are going through that is according to their own karmic imprints, right? There is really not much that I can control there. So the more and more I understand that their journey is theirs and mine is mine, I can only do what is possible by me. That need to keep someone happy or keep myself in a particular situation or bound by certain roles and responsibility feels much more free or easy to distance myself from. So that is something I have experienced. And even in challenging situations, sometimes, not all the times, as we all understand, right? The learnings we are able to apply only at some times. So even when things are feeling very unpleasant to handle, to manage, sometimes this thought comes into mind, okay, we are all impermanent, then how long will the suffering last? This will also go away, right? So why bother so much about it? So there is also a bit of distancing that is happening from the challenging situations itself. I'm not getting sucked into going into deeper arguments or challenges of that stuff. Though sometimes I do, but sometimes I am able to distance myself from there and say, okay, forget it, let it go as it has to go, right? So that has been my experience. With Prema, she said that she faced a lot of challenge with her husband's health issues. So many a times she was getting sucked into it and she could not comprehend things and she felt very, very deeply stuck at times. So these learnings, she said, has given her a perspective to look at things from a third person perspective, not always feeling like, okay, it's me that is going through everything. Why is this happening to me? So she is able to distance herself, take a little time. She is able to come to more acceptance of the situation, because similar to what I said, she also had this question of why this is happening to me. And the more and more she is answering that to herself, that it's not in my control, she has been able to distance herself, accept the challenges that are coming her way. She is able to step back from chaos and manage herself better. So it has really helped her find some gratitude within herself and deal with similar situations in a much more calmer sense. So this has been her experience. So this is what we both discussed and tried to put across today, right? So when I'm looking at this and relating it to what we have learned, what kind of anatma is this and where it falls, so I kind of understand, okay, I'm working with the Sukshma Sharira here and trying to, answer my questions that are coming from the Manomaya Kosha and that. But apart from that, yeah, it's going on. We are trying to get through in this journey. So one more thing I wanted to just mention is, right, while we are all trying to manage our negative emotions to a great extent, sometimes we also get stuck in the positive emotions, right? Sapna so beautifully said that, sometimes she's not able to feel the gratitude. So we don't have to even feel the compulsion to feel that gratitude, because even if we feel it, again, that is also fleeting, right? It is also impermanent. So we don't have to feel compelled to feel anything at any given moment. Just be present with it, whatever our experience is, and let go is what came to my mind as I heard you, Sapna. And it's a learning for me as well, right? That this is also impermanent, so we don't have to force ourselves into anything. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uma. Thank you so much. Any questions from Uma, please? Thank you so much, Uma. So beautifully put it across for all of us.
Thank you, Uma. I think that really kind of hit something in me, to realize that, yeah, I think that's also okay. I should just go with the flow.
Yeah. Thank you, Sapna.
Yes, Suresh, you're on the mute, I think.
Okay. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we are able to. Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So, salutations to the Guru, the lineage of Gurujis, Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Paramatmananda. So, for me, I've been, trying to read, practice a lot of all of this. But the clarity came when when the Tattva Viveka, where I was only looking at everything and saying it's permanent. If I get a pain, if I'm sitting and meditating, if I get a backache, I would say, this is not permanent. It just goes off. It's not permanent. It goes off. A thought comes, I'll say it's not permanent. It goes off. But once we read about Tattva Viveka, where it says that they make a clear distinction between the permanent and the impermanent. So from that perspective, my understanding came up to this, that if we consider ourselves, if you see, we are many cells coming together makes a human being. So for me, it's like granules of sand coming together to make a clay. So it's very similarly, many cells coming together to make a human being. And each cell has its own activity happening, and there is a certain frequency and certain vibrations to it. So it's our whole of our body is vibrating to a certain frequency. And now if we get hurt somewhere, the red point I mentioned, so that particular part frequency differs. There is high amount of activity there. So the frequency, the cells are doing different things. So the frequency is different. So similarly, when we go and touch upon anything in this world, the infinite objects that are there in this world. If I'm going and shaking a hand with someone who has a very firm handshake, and he squeezes my hand, there's a certain frequency change within me. If I'm holding an insect in my hand, there is a certain frequency change. I go touch anything in this world, it's a different frequency than me. So I am experiencing a completely different frequency. So from that perspective, there is a friction, there is a heat generated, there is a certain amount of stress generated. Now, there are places where you just touch a flower, you feel very nice. You touch your partner, you feel very nice. You touch a lot of things, you feel very nice. But again, that is very impermanent. But everything else that you deal with in this world is some or the other, different frequencies that you experience within your body. The cells go through a different frequency, and there is certain amount of suffering, sadness, and difficulty. Even if there is certain amount of happiness, that is again impermanent. Now, every time I go to an object and experience a certain amount of pain, I start seeking out to the frequency that matches to me. And that is the only thing which is permanent. I seek God within me. I seek and try and experience. It's not about an experience. This is what we are. And that's what I go through within me. And believe me, once you understand that nothing of this world really gives you, what you're seeking for, every time, unless you become a permanent, you get an understanding of that permanence, go back to it all the time. Go back to it all the time. And there is a very, very hard timeline project that I'm doing in my office. This wouldn't have been possible if I had not taken up these studies and, to understand all of this. Because earlier it has happened. I'm in sales, very similar to Anand. It's not an easy job to do. And there's huge amount of pressure, stress, that, work-life balance, all that is a huge problem. But I'm just able to manage all of this by simply shifting my focus to the permanent. All the time. Every time I find something, I go back to the permanence. And it gives me that frequency that is natural. And the disturbance just disappears. Now, how do I do that? If you really look at the closest that could come to it is the space. Space is all around us, with us, outside of us, but it's just there all over the place. It's like a bottle which is filled with water. There's nothing more. And there's a small particle in that bottle. So the water is inside of us, around us. Sorry, if there is a small break, please bear with me. So he is there within us. He's there around us. He's there everywhere. And when you experience that, and when you see him everywhere, in everything that you do, there is no mismatch of that frequency. Because you start seeing him in everything. My questions disappeared. There is no questions anymore. It's beautiful. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No worries, that's very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Suresh. Thank you so much. Yes, certainly. So if you have to just stop the presentation here. Thank you. All right, who's going next now?
I think batch 2 has to go, right?
Yeah.
Batch 3 is done. Sonali, you want to go?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Yeah.
So, well, I have not. I don't have much to say. Well, with the all the awareness and the knowledge that I've gained right from my level 1 happiness with self-awareness and level 2 and then with Tattva Bodha, I'm able to see see lot of subtle changes in my day-to-day life, especially the things that I'm attached to. For me, the biggest challenge, and it's still a challenge, I would say, was my attachment to my uh, to my to my children, to my spouse, to all my relationships. Those were my biggest attachments. Those were my biggest challenge, and the fear of the future. Those were, I mean, I was immensely scared about my future always. So, well, with this knowledge, I'm able to now detach myself. When I say detachment, it's not that I don't love my children, but I'm able to observe them. And as Uma had rightly put, that it's their journey and they have to go on their journey. So that is the biggest thing, whenever they come across, because I used to run and try to solve their problems whenever, though they are 20 and 25, I still used to run and try to solve their problems. But these days I have come to that awareness that no, it's their journey and they have to move on. So that's the biggest learning for me from all the sessions that we have gone through. And I really have to thank Bidan. I watch his videos again and again just to, get myself equipped with that knowledge. The next thing is the fear of the future. That was always a case with me. I always used to fear, kya hoga? For example, when I shifted to this small village, it was a big thing. What are we going to do? But I think that now I'm able to observe my emotions, my beliefs from a distance. When I say I'm not totally fearless. I do fear at time. There is a lot of fear, but I'm able to distance myself again from that and see the things in perspective. So I feel when I talk about fear, I think a lot of acceptance has come. See, this is the situation. This is it. Uh, uh, this is what it is right now. And so I'm able to accept the situation. I don't know whether I'm going on the right track, but yes, uh, able to accept the situation as is. So that's all my learning is. I still have a long way to go, but yeah, I'm trying.
Thank you so much, Sonali. The smile says it all. Thank you so much. Great. Would like to go next?
Padmasini, you want to go? Padmasini, you there? Okay. Okay, I think I'll go in. Yeah. For me, this journey has given me a lot of peace, freedom from, a lot of guilt, expectations, resentments, and the blame game, lot of things. So through that acceptance, accepting people the way they are not, that is, given me a lot of freedom. Uh, by which, like on the court, how it looks like, it's like I have more time for myself to do what really matters to me. It- like, it is like mind is most of the time it is sorted. Otherwise, though I am at home now that, I'm not working, but I have two kids, but otherwise also it is like all the time there's a chaos in the head. So now I myself feel that I have time to connect with people, situation, and quickly respond and be there for them a lot of time. And more happily, I'm happy most of the time. I have two kids. I spend a lot of good time with them. So I see there is this whole shift in the way I used to be and how I am today. So that is real. It is a very, very subtle thing. Maybe I don't know others notice or not, but for me, it is a big, big thing. I have noticed uh, in me. So I just want to share one small incident which happened just last week. Last Thursday, my husband had gone to Coimbatore Isha Ashram. He had a program there, so he drove alone 800 kilometers, and he was coming back in the night. Uh, i- i- During around 8:30, exactly at this time, we get a call from him that there's somebody who came and hit the car. He was taking a turn for his for to have dinner. From the opposite, from a wrong side, there is a bike fellow who came and hit the car. So he calls my brother-in-law. Brother-in-law comes and tells that Malik called and this is what happened. uh, Even for a second, I didn't panic. I don't know, there was a lot of faith in me that things will go fine, that he'll be taken care. I don't know, something was there. So I just took few minutes, and then okay, what is that I should do? I just everybody in the house, everybody are panicked, and that fellow is a local guy, and his family, some 10-15 people have gone. They've taken him to hospital. His one leg is completely turned from the thigh. So, and this my husband is alone. So in a different state, you're different. You're alone. So here, everybody are panicked. He's alone. What to do and all that. So I just took my phone and called two of my friends. We did a course some 10-15 years back. I called them. I said, "See, this is the situation. Could you send somebody?" So within half an hour, 40 minutes, uh, my not even my friends, somebody friends were sent there. Within no time, one of my friend connected his cousin, and then his cousin called me, and then they put me on a con call, and I connected with my husband, and then I said, "He's coming." That's all. I didn't even call my husband because I didn't want to panic him, because I don't know the situation there. I'm sure even if I call, he wouldn't want to explain me what is happening there. So I just didn't call him at all in this whole process. So they went there, and even here at home, everybody are there, but nobody's taking care of my daughter. Like, she's 10, 11 months old. She wants my attention, and it is already a dinner time. Even my elder one wants the food. So I said, I was doing that. I was doing a call. I was coordinating and all that. Here, everybody, a lot of people knows people from Tamil Nadu and Tamil speaking. They all know, but they were not able to do anything. But wherein I don't know, this very clear in my mind. Okay, he will be fine. So then I served food for my elder daughter, and then I fed my younger one. I also had food. I was also hungry, so I also had food. And then I told my in-laws, they're old and they're diabetic. I said, go have dinner. So they were like, they were little surprised. I mean, how come this lady is not, panicked or anything? And she's like, just doing as though nothing has happened. Then after some time, I was actually getting updates from those people whom actually they don't know me, I don't know them. Still, they were giving me that assurance, Akka, don't worry, and I will be fine. We are there to take care of him. And since my husband was in a sadhana, he was having only 2 meals in a day. So he had only 1 meal throughout the day. And he had not had the dinner. By then, this man has come and hit. So I just told them, he has not had dinner. Could you please convince him to take, and make him have dinner? So they took him actually. And by then here, they don't know what to do. They're literally panicked and they're overthinking the negative things, what might happen and all that. By then, here brother-in-law left, but it takes 4 hours from here. Google Map was telling 4 hours to reach. By the time these people reach, things were sorted. My husband said, I will bear the medical expenses. And by the time, even before these people reach, he was actually started from there. So we were thinking that, till his surgery, they may not leave him. But then he started. So everything was kind of sorted. So by 11:30, we also went to sleep. I told my in-laws, don't worry, I'm getting the updates. I'll update you if I get any news. Go and sleep. You don't have to, sit and wait. So by early morning, he was back home. But then the whole thing, I was actually amazed by the way I behaved in that whole scenario situation. I could somehow see that, this is this situation has happened for a reason. Just before this news, I told, see, 800 kilometers, why do you want to drive alone? If this is the case next time, please take a driver or go in flight and come. Just that incident, this has happened. Then on the other side, I could see that this, 1 minute. So this situation, it is not just something negative. Maybe this is a consequence of a lot of events in the past. Maybe this is an event where I used it as an opportunity to evolve or to learn from there. So after this whole thing, in fact, everybody were amazed the way I was dealing the whole thing. And next day, when my husband came back, so my other side of my mind was like expecting some acknowledgement that you were at least being of some help, all that. But on the other side, I was also telling myself, you may not get what you want. And first thing is that the satkarma, you should not have the doership. You didn't do anything. You are just a means that thing to happen. So that again kind of, calm me down. So I think that entire event, even after coming, my husband came back, he didn't narrate the story. It's still like, some of the things are still hidden, or he's not ready to tell, maybe because he don't want to recall that event. But I could see myself distancing from there, that, my role, whatever I had to do, I did. And maybe I offer it as a gratitude that, I was at least of help. I think that whole thing kind of, changed the perspective of, how people look at me as, how I look at myself as. Actually, yeah. Yeah, that's it.
I think everybody must be spellbound right now. This is such a beautiful way you have summed up everything that we have done, Sahan. The fact that you were assured, irrespective of what was happening to you. big deal. To feel assured when things were going out of the place and still feeling calm, because that's sort of an assurance. Plus doing everything from a perspective of Ishwararpana, right? And not expecting a reciprocation that I have done so much, someone should acknowledge my efforts. And being aware of it. Your
Yeah.
ability to watch your thoughts, your emotions, feeling grounded. I must say this is probably one of the best thing I've ever heard so far from anyone. I mean, this kind of shows that the knowledge has percolated each and every cell of an individual. It's no longer at the cognitive level. It is actually showing up in actions. This is how someone builds up something called Sthita Prajna. I'm so happy to hear this, Ahan. I'm very proud.
Yeah, actually, every now and then those involuntary thoughts that somehow was so grounded in me, like all that overthinking, that negative thinking, and oh, what my people in the house might think. Maybe I have to sometimes have to behave that I am also scared to just to please them. All that drama happens, right? I was actually watching that thought also. I was very much a sakshi over there. I could see what is happening one way and what is my action. Like, thoughts and action, both of them I was able to watch it. So I think it is like watching a movie of my own thing. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this, Anna. It's honestly something that will motivate all of us. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. We exactly are 8:33. Maybe we will spend another 5 to 10 minutes, if that's okay for all of you. Right? Kaushal, would you like to go or are you still waiting?
No, I'm good to go.
Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. So Santosh and I, we had our discussion before. So I speak for the both of us. Santosh, always feel free if I have left out something to jump in and add, okay? So I think this March will be our 2-year journey, both for Santosh and me. We started in the same batch. It'll be 2 years since we started this journey with Twame. And the pre-Twame, Kaushal and Santosh are not the post-Twame, Kaushal, and I wouldn't say even post. It's something. It's a journey that's still going on. But so whatever we understood from what Bidhan wanted us to share today, we are kind of like compounding our 2-year learnings, including what we are doing in the Swadhyaya, and what we have learned there. So few of the learnings have been, like Sahana said, the self-awareness one, where we are able to distance ourselves from our thoughts, from our emotions, from understand where the thoughts are coming from. Maybe in time we say, okay, these are the beliefs that I have probably grown up with, and which is why this thought is entering here, or which is why these are the emotions that are coming through. So all of these kinds of like the self-awareness part of it has increased phenomenally. We are able to distance ourselves most of the time, unless probably where the situations are not very emotionally charged. In emotionally charged situations, we are finding that we revert back to our programs, but then some time passes and then there is a dissection of those charged situations and what we could have probably done better. Okay, this is what happened, that kind of a thing. Even the knowledge of our the anatma and the atma, I think, yeah, those two huge concepts that has been I would say, I remember that emoticon with that the brain blowing up kind of a thing. So while the knowledge also, again, where we feel there is the knowledge of it is still not complete. We are learning along the way, but there is now more motivation to experience also the Atma part. Uh, so we are hoping we'll get there somewhere along the way. Maybe not this lifetime, but whatever. But the motivation has come in now. The enthusiasm for that too. Okay. Also, the general outlook towards life has become more calm, comforted, and peaceful. Generally, the anxiety, the stress, the drain in the energy that would, on a daily basis, I think a lot of it has just frittered away, and we are able to be much more peaceful. Whatever downturns we have experienced, um, the bounce back from that has been faster, easier, and in a much better shape than before. Uh, I had an experience, if I might take a couple of minutes. Just over December, we had visited Sri Lanka for the holidays. We land at the airport. We have a driver and a car waiting for us. Maybe 3 hours into the drive, we realized that my husband and I realized that the driver is under the influence of some strong drugs. His driving is erratic. We have another good 2 to 3 hours to go to reach our destination. Um, that was a crazy situation. We really were thinking, okay, are we even going to reach our destination or not? Uh, and we just kind of like, okay, so whatever I have been learning, I keep downloading onto my husband. Generally, he's a much more calmer and stable person than I am, but I was able to let go of the emotions that were arising from being in that situation and think calmly. So we asked the driver what it is without help making him realize, because he was absolutely denying that he is not under the influence. We did not but there was definitely, he had explosive vomit all over the steering wheel while driving. So we knew there is something going on, and he kept saying that he had a stomach bug, but we knew that it was just his driving was too erratic for that. And his speech was slurred, so we had a good idea that we are dealing with something else here. The emotions got like tightly bound into one bundle and put aside to be dealt with at a later time, but just focused on what needed to be done at that time. And we somehow managed to talk him through, kept him awake. He was falling asleep at the wheel, kept him awake for the next 2 hours, and we reached our destination. After which, of course, there was some level of stress, anxiety, and this happened just as we entered Sri Lanka. So it was like day one of a extended 1 week plus trip. It could have gone down from there. We could have lost our whole enthusiasm for the trip, but I was able to um, put it aside. But I don't know if the pre-Twame Kaushal would have been able to do that, and being able to distance myself from those emotions and that situation. Okay, that this is done. Let's not um, let it color the rest of our trip. We have many more wonderful things to look forward to, and that's how the thought process worked. I would say, thanks to Twame. So yeah, that was the thing. Another, this one was, I don't know. I think Asha might have touched upon that, the materialism part of it. Uh, we have been able to. I was a huge shopaholic before. And that, something looks nice, cute, okay, let's buy. Maybe it's for the house, maybe I had a school that was that I used to run before, but now it's like nosedived. I do go to malls, but I'm like, there is a very clear cut difference between a want and a need. And if something can be repaired, we will do it. But I don't know how that has come about. Maybe to do with permanence, impermanence, not having to show anybody anything. That so many of the things that kind of point towards the drop in materialism for me. Also gratitude, very newfound respect for this body, and a well-functioning brain, to be able to even sit here and grasp to whatever extent the concepts that we are dealing with. And being healthy enough, with 5 functioning sense organs, um, which just makes the journey a little easier. So that newfound gratitude and respect for the body and the mind has come in. A little bit of I think maybe Santosh has probably been a whole lot more successful in this compassion. I am my own worst critic, and I'm just as hard on others. My So that has been something that I'm working very hard on, compassion, because just understanding that these are the whole thing with the body, the shariras, the all of the concepts that we have gone through, somehow is helping to bring in a little bit more compassion, for me. Yeah. And I think I've been able to bring the compassion more for others, and very recently I'm trying to direct that compassion towards me, and probably forgive my own faults, some of my missteps. But it's in its infancy is what I can say. Um, and the most recent learning about Ananda, the Satchit Ananda, but the Ananda was the one that spoke to me a whole lot. That there is no happiness outside, but whatever happiness we even feel in our waking state or any other state is all coming from within. That was also amazing. And sometimes I do try, whenever I have a little bit of quietude, to just quieten my mind and just try to see if some of that shines through. But yeah, that's about it from both Santosh and I. Santosh, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you summed up whatever we had discussed. I mean, basically, as you said, the compassion part. I mean, what helped me was this, this knowledge that you're one with, everything, the universe, and you are one. So the simple thing I started thinking, or rather looking at, was, I mean, from those times on, like after the first few classes and all this, every time I look out and look at people or places, I couldn't help but think that this is actually in me, or this person is me. So then you automatically see that the previous you, where you would see yourself as separate from everything, and you have to prove your point, and you have to kind of fight your way through kind of attitude, kind of slowly subsides, because you don't find yourself judging the other person, and you're not really worried about the outcome as much as you used to be. And so it's a very different experience. And constantly, when you're actually doing that, it really does magic for you. When you're looking at everything, you become a lot less judgmental about things, first of all. You see that you're one and the same with everyone and everything. So that really did the job for me. And yeah, one of the biggest challenges I would say is, I think, in the field of experience, because we've gained some amount of knowledge now, and that actually helps with these breakthroughs and these things that we discover, and it takes you a certain distance. But as Bidhan has always been insisting, practice is what will get us deeper into the experience, and that's and calming the mind and making it still. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we face. But then I'm at it. I mean, because this knowledge has given me enough motivation to go ahead and do that. Because we've been trying to meditate from when we remember, right? From when we've heard about all these things. But then there's not enough motivation. But now there's profound motivation for that. So I've seen myself doing that quite a few times, and yeah, I should get there. I mean, of course, it's still in the journey. Not been successful at meditating yet, but then at it and very motivated. So that's about it.
Thank you so much, Santosh. Thank you so much, Kaushal. You guys are very lovely people. Thank you. All right. So are we left with anyone right now? I think anybody else is left to speak, or we're done?
Maybe next week sometime.
Next week sometime?
Yeah.
All right, then let's do
It's
that.
already late. I don't think people have the time now. So
All
next
right.
week we should do it.
So let us do this. We will continue this next week as well. And we will end up with a prayer, right? And I'm so glad that there was such a lovely participation today. I think a lot of people showed up and they were really interested to listen to each one of you in terms of what you all have gone through, because it motivates them to continue on this journey. This is something which happened, and thank you, each one of you, to make sure that you're here, share your experiences, talk about it, and also kind of show light to others in terms of what is it that they can get if you pursue on this path of self-awareness. Thank you so much. It's indeed beautiful and wonderful to have you all here. All right, so let's quickly finish with a prayer. We'll do Om Purnamada. Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much. Nice to have you all here, and see you next week then. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.